So, I don't know if this is true or not, because I saw one article and then it kind of disappeared, so I'm kind of not really banking on this being real. But for the fun of it, because I thought this would be a fun idea to really talk about, let's say hypothetically this was real, and for all intents and purposes it could be real, but then I'm not really banking on it because I only saw one news article on it, and nothing since. So, the article was that Tim Miller was in discussion with Warner Brothers to talk about a Lobo movie. Now, again, this could all be false because, again, I'd only had seen one article on the thing, and I haven't seen anything about it since. No, like, big news about it, because Warner Brothers would be like, yeah, now we're going to talk about doing a Lobo movie because because DC needs more R-rated stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of not really banking on this, but I thought for shits and giggles, I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about what that would be like if we had a actual Lobo film. Most of you guys know that Lobo is one of my favorite DC characters. Not the New 52 Lobo, but classic 90s batsnicth that he is. So, I kind of thought about what would it be like if we did get a Lobo film, and I think there could be a market for it, because obviously, yes, I know Deadpool is not the first R-rated superhero film, but you gotta admit that Deadpool was the most successful R-rated superhero film. The second being Blade 2, I believe. But yeah, this film, I think now that thanks to Deadpool, there can be a market for a Lobo film. Lobo is this, you would have to go hard R, like straight up hard R, because that's the thing with Lobo is that PG-13 won't do. This would be a bloody film with him sleeping with thousands of alien women and blowing people's brains out. So that's the thing with Lobo, is that you would have to go hard R, and I feel like Tim Miller would be the right guy to go with this. But honestly, yeah, Tim Miller, I mean, he did so well with Deadpool, and he's always talked about how he's being a comic book fan, and I would be behind Tim Miller directing another Lobo film, but I think he's going to be a little wrapped up with doing Deadpool too. Again, kind of giving way that this may be a fake article, but let's roll with it for the fun of it, right, guys? So with Lobo, you would have to need this R-rated director. Robert Rodriguez would be a nice pick as well. I would even say Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall's another guy I would go with. Neil Marshall's one of my favorite directors. He's done a lot of great stuff. Doomsday, Dog Soldiers, my favorite werewolf film. The Descent. He directed several episodes of Game of Thrones, which I've really loved. And he directed the first episode of Constantine, as well as he did several episodes of Black Sails. I think he's coming out with a new film as well. So Neil Marshall would be a great one. I think he would be another great addition. I would even go with, again, Robert Rodriguez, because here's the thing. I think Rodriguez would be a great pick, but I don't think he would do it because he's very independent. But I think Rodriguez would be a great pick because Lobo fits that kind of grindhouse, boobs and babes and blood kind of feel. I mean, if you read like one of the classic classic Lobo comics, it reads like a grindhouse story in space, which is not too far off because some grindhouse movies are in space. Some of them do take place in space. So yeah, it's a space opera / grindhouse film. That's the best way. Yeah, that is the best way to look at do a Lobo film. Grindhouse and a space epic, but a grindhouse film. In space. Lobo, you wouldn't also... Let's talk about, actors for Lobo. There's a few that come to mind. Ron Perlman. I think Ron Perlman would be a great one. Another would be... Oh, God, what's his name? He was the villain in Iron Man 2. Mickey Rourke, that's it. Yeah, Mickey Rourke would be an excellent pick for Lobo, I think. Those are a few, right? Like, those come off the top of my head. Because I think you need, like a haggard badass. You need, this haggard, this very big... I wouldn't say professional wrestler. Yeah, I wouldn't go with a professional wrestler, though I'm pretty sure some people are going to say Triple H for Lobo, but I don't think I'd go with that. I would go with someone you could get big, but at the same time, just a little more like he's rough. It's this rough and gruff kind of actor. Someone who you could see kick someone's skull in and have fun doing it. But yeah, the other thing with a film like this is that if you thought the Deadpool movie was offensive, this film would go to 100, because this film would be a much darker comedy. That's the thing with Lobo, is that it's not like with Deadpool where he can get away with ha ha ha, that's funny and penis. This one is more like, oh my god, Lobo ripped that guy's spine out and made him eat it. Oh god. You see, it's more darker comedy. It's and Lobo's not a tragic character. He is not in any sort of way. So you feel bad for him. No, you feel bad for the people he horribly kills. The dude, you gotta remember, this is a character who, when he was young and for a science fair project, unleashed a virus that wiped out all of his other race, the rest of his kind, leaving him the last Zarnian. And then, got so bad, he got kicked out of heaven and hell and is forever immortal. Yeah. So we're dealing with a guy who has pissed off God and Satan so bad that they've just left him alive for all eternity. But yeah, so that's the thing with this film. Now the other thing is that you would have to be really creative with the villains, because Lobo never really had a rogues gallery. Most of his comics were just about him going from universe to, not universe to universe, but planet to planet, either collecting bounties or, pissing people off for the fun of it. And that was kind of the whole deal with him. So, if you were to make this part of the DC universe, if you were going to make this part of the DC cinematic universe, you would have to go all out for this. You would have to, make Lobo... I would say that maybe you can make Lobo part of this DC cinematic universe, but in space, maybe introduce a few Green Lanterns. Like, I think this could be a cool place to introduce... If you do a Lobo film, I think this could be a cool place to introduce Guy Gardner, because him and Guy were actually drinking buddies. So, if you were to do the thing with X-Men in Deadpool, where you could just where they just brought in Colossus, this could be a cool way to bring in Guy Gardner, because him and Guy were, not really friends, they were more like drinking buddies. But yeah, you could have it that, the Green Lanterns need some help with a mission that they can't do because it needs to be off the books. So Guy goes to Lobo saying, "Hey, you're wanted, but but the Guardians are willing to overlook this little problem if you do something for us." So that's kind of what I think that would be that would just be a simple plot, is that Lobo is wanted by the Green Lantern Corps, but instead either he can be arrested, which better terms is he's going to kill everyone and just have a merry day, or he can go the other route and do this job and get paid for it and be off their radar. Maybe this could be a cool way to use Kanjar-O as the villain. Kanjar-O, for those who don't know, is a DC villain who was at first this intergalactic conqueror, but now he's like a gangster. He's now like this intergalactic gangster. So I think that going the intergalactic gangster route would be a cool way. Like maybe Lobo is forced to hunt Kanjar-O because he has this like device that's going to wipe out whole planets. I think that'd be cool. Or even use Despero. Like maybe Kanjar-O's hired by Despero and Lobo's got to deal with both of them. That'd be fun. I think that would be. I think there you go. It's everyone trying to grab this piece of alien tech, and Lobo's just caught in the middle of it. There you go. Love interest? None. Because Lobo's never really had a love interest outside of the space dolphins that are his pets. All he's had is just sluts. That's really it. You don't need this superhero film doesn't need a love interest. You can have Lobo fucking women. You can have him fucking a lot of women. But don't give him a love interest. Lobo's not a loving guy. Like I said in my Lobo Dominator vid, it would be a domestic dispute every week. That's just the way he is. So this would be one of the few times where this would be a time where I'd say, don't give him a love interest. Don't give it, the only thing he loves is money, his motorcycle, and his space dolphins. That's literally the only three things he really loves. Oh yeah, and the, casual sex, that also is a plus. So 4 things. But yeah, once again, like I said earlier, this film probably isn't going to happen because, one, Warner Brothers and DC aren't gonna do something like this, because again, that piece of news is more than likely fake. But who knows? Maybe it is real. Maybe maybe this just got thrown under the radar. Who knows? I would love to see a Lobo film and seen it done right, and I think Tim Miller would be a great choice for it, but I think he's going to be a little busy doing Deadpool 2, and I think he's also been tacked on to do the Goon film. You know, that thing that's been going, you know, that comic book movie that's supposed to have been done, like, in 2006, but they still haven't done jack shit with it. Anyway. So you guys tell me, would you guys like to see a Lobo film, and how would you guys do it, and what characters would you have as Lobo's supporting cast? What other DC characters would you like to see in the film, and what would you want the story to be, and who's your ideal director or screenwriter, and who would you, and you know, more importantly, who would you want to play Lobo? Really, really interested, because again, I just thought this would be a fun little video to talk about, and that piece of news, fake or not, just got my mind going. So yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I'm out.